إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد. The battle between truth and falsehood has existed since Shaitan vowed to Allah that he would lead the creation astray and towards the falsehood of kufr. And this battle, it will continue until the end of time. We are caught up in the midst of it, and it is for us to decide whether we want to pursue truth or perpetuate falsehood. And in this khutbah, I'm going to specifically talk about a Muslim's response to being told negative information and gossip. The Muslim, they should verify everything that is told to them and what he himself wants to narrate. He should not accept anything but that which is proven. And he should not narrate anything except what he knows to be sound, beneficial, and true. Upon hearing something that we find to be exciting or that we approve of even, we often have this urge and this desire to spread it around to others. People, they generally find tales and stories to be exciting. Yet sadly, many things that we are told about, especially when it relates to discrediting another individual, they often turn out to be lies. The Prophet ﷺ, as narrated in Muslim, he said that it is sufficient for a man to speak of, it's sufficient lying for a man to speak of everything that he hears. And Nawawi rahimahullah, he explains this. And he says that this is a warning not to speak of everything that one hears. For a person, they usually hear things that are true, and they also hear things that are false. So if he were to speak of everything that he hears, he would end up telling lies. So why is this a big issue? Well, on an individual level, false information, especially if it relates to someone else, it can cause hurt and mental anguish. Ammar, he famously said, "Beware of fitna, for a word at the time of fitna could be as devastating as the sword." This can be interpreted literally, because there are cases, in fact, where false rumors have led to wars, to fights, to individuals even committing suicide, a'udhu billah. And those who spread this misinformation, they end up often losing all of their credibility, even if they did not intend to lie, or they did so without malicious intent. On a societal level now, the prevalence of lying and gossip and the scarcity of truthfulness is a plague that, if it spreads within a society, undermines its stability and foundations, and it creates a culture of distrust and skepticism, as we see today. People, they cannot trust or accept what they hear anymore, unless it aligns with their own thoughts, their own expectations, their own desires. People, they don't even have complete faith and trust in their own family members or their friends regarding what they speak of. This is a recipe for an unhappy and an individualistic society. And this is because the well-being of a society, it depends on the bonds of trust amongst its members. if families, the very building blocks of society, are not safe from this, where rumors about what so-and-so uncle, cousin, niece have done, if that spreads like wildfire, whether they be true, completely false, fabricated, how can one expect a society to flourish? In Surah Hujurat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن جاءكم فاسق بنبأ فتبينوا أن تصيبوا قوما بجهالة فتصبحوا على ما فعلتم نادمين. O believers, if an evildoer brings you any news, verify it, so you do not harm people unknowingly, becoming regretful for what you have done. I want to touch on the use of the word fasiq, evildoer here. Oftentimes those who narrate things to us, they are not doing it out of good intention or harmlessly. They may possibly have a grudge with this individual. They may harbor jealousy towards them. They may want to see their reputation destroyed. Or they may have a disease in their hearts where, very simply, they feel exhilarated about gossiping about other people's lives and knowing every single detail about other people. Think about how institutionalized this behavior is. Tabloids and social media, they're engineered around this idea of creating and spreading controversy about other people, in particularly famous people. What is inevitably and evidently a negative part of human behavior is legitimized and normalized from every direction around us, posing as a real trial for us. Therefore, the believer, they should receive information carefully, first verifying the truth of it before deciding if there is any benefit in passing it on. And in most cases, there is not. In most cases, it will only lead to mentioning bad attributes and actions of another person, and this only leads to backbiting, slander, and gossip. Deliberation is from Allah and haste is from shaitan. The Muslim is intelligent and deliberate in what he does. He does not rush thoughtlessly into something without due consideration. As Hassan al-Basri said, the believer reserves judgment until the matter is proven. Another way I wanted to go about this is that one well-established principle in Islam is to not speak about the religion without knowledge. That is, to not comment and to provide baseless personal opinions on Islamic matters that you are not aware of. This is something that would be seen as amounting to a lie against Allah, even if one's own comments or opinions are aligned with what Islam says. The transmission of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, in fact, they all went through a rigorous test of authenticity before being able to be attributed towards him. And we are told that even if we do not like a ruling, that we abide by it regardless, due to our recognition that our desires do not dictate truth, and that truth must prevail. This principle, however, it should also be carried across by Muslims into their personal lives, to ensure they're not dealing with this deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they're still dealing with the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah has established a model of behavior for us, of not speculating into that which we have no clue, of imposing our own personal biases, which could produce harmful consequences in certain situations, and it is for us to apply this in our entire lives. Finally, something needs to be said about the hearts of those who spread gossip, about what motivates them to do so, about their desire to spark controversy, to see the downfall of others. This becomes an addiction for them, a disease of their heart. In Surah An-Nisa, we find that Allah critiques those who spread rumors without verification. وَإِذَا جَاءَهُمْ أَمْرٌ مِّنَ الْأَمْنِ أَوِ الْخَوْفِ أَذَاعُوا بِهِ وَلَوْ رَدُّوهُ إِلَى الرَّسُولِ وَإِلَى أُولِي الْأَمْرِ مِنْهُمْ لَعَلِمَهُ الَّذِينَ يَسْتَنبِطُونَهُ مِنْهُمْ. Whenever news of any matter comes to them, whether concerning peace or war, they spread it about. If they had referred it to the messenger and those in authority among them, those seeking its meaning would have found it out from them. And there is severe warning in Surah Ahzab for those who agitate the community by spreading false news. لئن لم ينته المنافقون والذين في قلوبهم مرض والمرجفون في المدينة لنغرينك فيهم ثم لا يجاورونك فيها إلا قليلا. If the hypocrites and those with sickness in their hearts and rumor mongers in Medina do not desist, we will certainly incite you, O Prophet, against them, and they will not be your neighbors for there any longer. Allah and His Prophet ﷺ, they urge truthfulness because it is the foundation of good character and leads to it. It is a sign of uprightness for those possessing it. Through truthfulness, one reaches the rank of the righteous, and by it one is saved from all evils. Unwavering integrity is what distinguishes the deen of Islam from kufr and makes it a light in the world of darkness. And this needs to be reflected by its followers. I want to conclude with a narration from Bukhari where the Prophet ﷺ said that in a dream, that he saw in a dream two men who came to him and said, "Indeed, the one you see with his jaw being torn apart is a liar. He tells a lie which reaches the horizons, and it will be done to him like that until the day of resurrection." أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه وتوبوا إليه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. إن الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. So what lessons are we to take then? We must check the facts before sharing any news. Don't pass on anything unless you're sure that it is accurate. This should be stressed in particular when it comes to digital platforms like WhatsApp or Twitter/X, where information sharing about personal lives and gossip are prominent. And they're so easy to do just by the tap of a screen. That doesn't acknowledge or require the kind of social etiquette of only speaking the truth to people. The consequence is that you could end up spreading lies and harming others. On the brighter side, another lesson is that truth will always prevail over falsehood. Truth is eternal and from Allah, whilst lies are not eternal and they are from shaitan. So be a witness to the truth always and do not risk being a conveyor of falsehood and harm. How should we respond now when we come to know of something? There are 6 steps to this. Firstly, is to always verify the news. Is it based on facts and truth rather than agenda, emotion, and hysteria? Does its conclusion logically follow? Secondly, is to think about the information before doing anything. How will this benefit you or others? Or will it just bring harm? Does it involve discrediting another individual? How will lies and slander damage this situation? Thirdly, is to examine the circumstances. Do you even understand the full situation in which it occurred? Have you confirmed with others the truthfulness of the situation before drawing a conclusion? Fourth, is that in any situation you have to stand up for truth and justice, whilst always making excuses for others if there is any doubt. Fifth, is be careful of what you say and transmit. Tale-bearing and spreading sensitive information, especially about others, should only be to ward off harm and for the sake of Allah. And sixth, is to replace bad words and bad instincts with the good and the merciful. Spread good words about others, praise them, and appreciate them in your hearts, so that shaitan is less able to stoke that desire in you to speak badly about another person. To summarize, I wish to quote Anas ibn Malik, who reported that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, "Let he who believes in Allah and the last day speak the truth, or remain silent and safe. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us steadfast on the truth and to maintain integrity in all of our actions. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for truth to prevail over falsehood in our communities. We ask Allah to help and protect the people of Palestine. We ask Allah to ease their pain and suffering. We ask Allah Ar-Rahim, bestower of mercy, to bestow His mercy onto them. We ask Allah to open people's hearts towards the truth. We ask Allah to help those who are in need, wherever they may be. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين وأذل الشرك والمشركين ودمر أعداء الدين واحمي حوزة الإسلام يا رب العالمين. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي وتكفرون وقيموا الصلاة.